to another episode of the Holistic Sister Circle. Today we have Jen here with us, and she brings 30 plus years experience in physical therapy, advanced training as a fellow of pain science, and expertise in mental fitness and lifestyle medicine to holistic healing. She empowers people to release chronic pain by nurturing mind, body, and spirit. And her passion is guiding others as a physical therapist and devoted mom to live painlessly. This is amazing. Jen, I'm
Thank you.
so grateful to have you here.
Excited to be here.
Awesome, awesome. So let's start off with something fun. What is
Okay.
something what is something that you haven't shared that's not on the internet that you would love to share with us?
Well, I'm in the process of launching a fun series called Alarm and Flow to help people understand pain science with very fun AI driven characters. We're going to have a golden retriever and a squirrel, and they're going to be learning about pain science and helping the audience to learn as well.
Oh my gosh, how cool is that?
I know I haven't spoken this publicly at all yet. So
When is that release? That sounds awesome.
well, we have one at the intro episode is ready to go, but we want to get a few more in the queue before we launch. So hopefully a couple weeks.
I love that. Well, you'll have to let us know how it goes.
Absolutely. I'm very excited.
Beautiful, beautiful. So Jen, we're coming back on track, getting everyone centered. Can you just share with us your journey into what led you into physical therapy? Let's start there.
I didn't want to be a physical therapist. I have two sisters who are PTs, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was like, okay, I'll be a PT. And then during my clinical rotations, I really fell in love with PT. And so that's how I got started there. And I got into coaching about, I don't know, 2014 or so, because a client asked me, he's like, can you just come home with me and help me? And I was like, well, I don't think my kids would be so happy with that. However, that kind of got the balls rolling. And it was about that time that I also got introduced to Adrienne Lowe, who was my pain science mentor. And I've been on a fast track to learn as much as I can about pain because it is a daunting experience. And we know so much more about how we can help people. And then most recently, I'm merging all of that together with mental fitness. And my one sentence summary of that is harnessing your brain to be your best friend rather than your worst enemy, which is important with pain and chronic illness.
Wow, this is actually going to be such an exciting episode because there's so many people who have chronic illnesses, or maybe they don't even know that it's chronic because they haven't even been that self-aware to know the difference between, hey, I have pain, or hey, like this is actually something I need to now go get help on.
Yeah.
Can you share with us, when do you tip, when, obviously when clients are coming to you in this arena, when does it make sense to seek help before it gets chronic? Or
Ah,
yeah.
that's a really interesting question. So we know that the best way to prevent chronic pain is to properly address acute pain. And pain is protection. We think of your nervous system as a very high tech alarm. You put your hand on a hot stove. We are so glad that you feel pain so you can remove your hand. And in cases where people are experiencing chronic pain, their nervous system is doing its job. It's just doing it too well. And so, in terms of chronic illness, the more you can do on the front end, and that's where lifestyle medicine comes in. I didn't mention that. I'm also a lifestyle medicine coach, and that's using very easily accessible things. And we know that we can treat, reverse, and prevent 80% of these lifestyle related diseases that are afflicting a lot of people: sleep, nutrition, managing stress, avoiding risky substances, exercise, and I always forget one. It'll come back to me later. Social connections, just like this. So, all of those things really can help you prevent things down the road. And most importantly, what I say to my pain clients is we need to have strategies that we do every day, right? We know we need to drink water every single day, it's part of health. And when you have a cold, we know you need to drink more water. So I want you to have the strategies to keep yourself healthy. More importantly, what needs to tweak or get flow to ebb and flow when you're having a flare of an illness or pain or even the cold or the flu. So it's similar strategies. It's how do we implement them depending on what's going on.
Right. No, that makes total sense. And it reminds me of, myself too. And I have quite a few people as well who have just connected with me who have had chronic constipation. And they've gone to, whether it's a gastrointestinal specialist or, someone to help in that area. And they feel that it's chronic, but it was like, okay, what were the things that happened prior to it being chronic to now having this chronic pain? Just as a physical therapist, what have you seen, when your clients obviously do come to you from a chronic illness perspective, what have you seen the most of? And what do you typically suggest that clients do when it's gotten that bad?
Well, that bad is going to be different for each person. We all have a point where, like, oh, I can handle it, I can handle it. And then eventually it's like, okay, I need help. Um, I don't really know that there's something I see the most of
Okay.
because we get caught up a bit in labels. And the reality is, chronic pain, which often goes along with chronic illness, it is a oversensitive nervous system. Now, chronic fatigue shows up typically in particular parts of the brain more than, say, GI problems, more than immune problems. And so, depending on what the symptoms are, helps guide us how we treat them. So, what I see the most is overly sensitized nervous systems. And honestly, people really, really underestimate the impact of stress on their health. And so that is really just an umbrella. Chronic symptoms, stress. Let's change how you're responding to the stress because you can't always change the fact that stress exists, but you always have the choice of what you're going to do with it. And then it is amazing how we introduce a few other lifestyle pieces and education on how pain and these things work, and they start to feel better and better and do more. And then they fire me because I always say the goal is that you fire me.
I love that. And I think one of the biggest things that you talked about too is, at the end of the day, we're getting to the root of it. And when we are, looking at that and seeing, okay, what does this look like for me specifically? Obviously, it's going to be different for me versus someone else. Um, but when you talk about the different types of ways that you can essentially handle the stress that comes with the chronic pain or the chronic illness that you may be bringing on, what are some things that you recommend that people can even do in that area? Because sometimes you may not even know that you're stressed, like because you're going through these motions all of the time and they seem normal to you. So it's like, for those instances where you don't even know you're in a stressful situation versus the ones where like without a shot of a doubt, this is fight or flight, like are the recommendations different depending on the level of stress?
That's such a good question. So, awareness is the first step, no matter what it is. And this is why I'm very passionate about blending the pain science with the mental fitness, because in the mental fitness, broadly, negative emotions are housed in the left side of our brain, our survival brain. And you can learn to rewire your brain, create new maps. And then we have the thriving part of your brain, and those are structures on the right. And for each person, again, it shows up differently. So, somebody dealing with a chronic illness, they may be avoiding going to the doctor, taking their meds, going for a walk. Some people are very controlling. Some people are very restless. They're searching for a new provider or a new strategy, every week. And so, how those things show up then helps inform you of how do we shift you into something different. The very first thing is awareness, because you're right, sometimes people aren't even aware that they're living in stress 24/7. However, our system is giving us information. When you feel uneasy, here, let's take women say yes all the time. And so think about any of your anybody who's listening right now. think of the last time someone asked you to do something and you said yes. How did it feel? Did it feel helpful? Did it feel enjoy? Did you feel enjoyment? Did you feel energized? Or did you feel dread and overwhelmed because you said yes yet again? So that is a really good example of your system letting you know. Let's get curious. Oh, that didn't actually feel so good. Oh, that brought on that shoulder pain that I always get when I take on too much. And then this is this beautiful place where you then get to choose. Am I going to continue into that cycle? We call it the roundabout of pain, and keep saying yes. Or, okay, I had that experience. Now I'm going to use different strategies. I'm going to learn about it. And then off I go and I exit off the roundabout.
Wow. Yeah, no, this is actually really good because even I think of just, and again, ladies who are listening to, feel free to chime in, comment just your levels of pain or stress as well. But when you do think about us just as women always saying yes, sometimes, and let me know what you think about this too, Jen. Sometimes you don't want to do it, but you know that you need to. And because you need to do this, right, this thing that may be stressing you out, how are you doing it in a way where you're honoring your body because it needs to get done, but then also making sure that you're showing up in a different way that doesn't cause the level of pain that you once had prior to that happening? So I'll give you an example. I like to use the kids for this one. So as an example, yesterday we were editing videos, and the girls wanted to go to skate camp. Skate camp today. It was pretty much all day. And we said, well, okay, you can go to skate camp, but you have to make sure that you get your videos done because that's how you're going to be paying for you to go to skate camp. And they said, okay. And then toward later in that night, one of them was a bit frantic. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't create enough videos. I didn't have enough momentum to actually raise the money that I needed to get to have enough to go to skate camp. So she's walking back and forth. She's asking me, how can I make more money? How can I make more money? I'm like, at this point, it's about 10 o'clock at night. So I'm like, just relax. But as you can tell, obviously it wasn't painful in that moment, but you could tell that her nervous system was a bit out of tune because now she's putting levels of stress on her that don't really need to be there. If maybe we just had a conversation and talked about some different ways that she could, make sure that she could handle that for next time. So I'm sharing this with you because, again, that's something that needed to get done, but we probably could have gone about it in a different way so she wouldn't feel so overwhelmed in that moment, to handle that particular environment a little bit better. Do you have situations like that you've recognized maybe with clients or even with yourself?
Well, my first observation is that twice you said it needed to get done. And then it was 10 o'clock and you said, take a breath, my friend, go to bed. And she still went to skate camp, right?
Yes.
So it didn't actually get done.
Yes, it did. It got done.
How did it get done?
She was able to make it up. So she made it up doing something else.
She made it up doing something else. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's less about the need to get it done and
Hmm.
more about how she responded in that situation. And so in this mental fitness framework, we talk about saboteurs, those left-sided, avoider, controller, and then sage. And so she may have had her pleaser show up, or even the restless, like, oh my gosh, I didn't get it done and I want to go to skate camp tomorrow. And all pain, by the way, fun fact, is physical and emotional. So
Mm.
while she wasn't saying, Mom, my stomach hurts, my shoulder hurts, you could see the stress. There was some physical experience somewhere, whatever that was, like shaking or jumping or whatever it was. And so that's the moment where it's like, what is her name? If you don't tell me her name. But that's the moment. It's like, okay, this is what's going on right now. What are our options? And we need to learn what options are. so that we can go off to the recovery side instead of getting stuck in that cycle. And however you came to it, you did, because
Right.
between you and her, she calmed down, she found another strategy, and so it turned out. Now, how do we use mental fitness? By prepping. We do some imagery, we do some mental work. If this happens again, what can I do different so that I don't repeat this pattern?
Right.
Oh, I can be more efficient. I don't go out and play for a half hour after lunch or whatever that is, because then she's setting herself up for success to have less or no saboteur hijacking next time.
Right. No, this is really powerful because again, I know I use the kids as an example, but I mean, this happens every day with adults as
Yes,
well. And I notice that we get stuck in this cycle for years, 2, 3, 4 years in the same rut. And, now it's getting worse. What would you
absolutely.
say to someone who, now that we know what we need to do in order to, and again, making it practical, having those steps in place so we know, okay, what we need to do for next time. But what would you say to someone who they're consistently having things show up in their life that for and again, it could be subconsciously that they're acting in a way that they know that they don't want to continue to act in.
So their behavior doesn't match their intention, yet it
Correct.
continues to happen.
Correct.
So there's a free saboteur assessment, which I'm happy to share with all of your listeners.
Yes.
And in that, then we know we're like, okay, I have a really strong victim saboteur. I have a really strong stickler saboteur. And so when you know and then you learn about it, then that's when you can make the change. And a great example is I could not be a cardiothoracic surgeon because I haven't learned anything about it. And so we expect people to handle pain. We expect people to handle stress when they don't A, understand it, or B, understand what their strategies are. And C, it's most important that they're choosing the strategies that are going to work and be appealing to them.
Right, right. No, this is super helpful. Thank you so much, Jen, for sharing this. Because, like I said, I know there's so many ladies out there that can totally relate. Now, talk to me a little bit more about this quiz. I feel like we need it, and we all need to take it. So
I
please
will
tell me,
share
what does that look like?
it.
How do we get
I
that?
I will tell you a little bit more. Can I digress for 1 minute about a client
Yes.
I had yesterday? She's amazing. She's young. I think she's like 19 or 20. And she's actually gone through the mental fitness program with me twice because she loved it so much. And, I said to her yesterday, I said, you have a lot of hard things in your life. And I would like you to know that I admire you, that you find your way through and it's still an amazing human being. And she's like, well, but then I feel guilty. And I said, who gets to choose if you feel guilty? And she knows now. She's like, me. We often want to blame someone else or a circumstance. And that's actually the master saboteur, the judge. And when we can, again, have that awareness first. So she's still experiencing these negative feelings and anxiety, but she can interrupt them and she knows how to get then back to the right side of her brain. So, the saboteur assessment, it is a simple 5-minute assessment. It'll ask you a bunch of questions and then you'll get emailed results with your specific saboteurs. It'll tell you on a scale of 0 to 10 how high is the sabot or the restless or the stickler or whatever it is. There's 10 of them. And then there's an opportunity. If you would like to share your results with me, you can. It'll say, share my results, and you can send them to me, and we could have a conversation if you want to. And it's great because you get a little bit of background information. Just like anything, we cannot be successful at anything unless we first learn. And the research is also cool. It takes 20% 20% insight. So learning about mental fitness or cardiothoracic surgery, but then it's 80% repetition, practice, and experience.
I love this. Thank you so much, Jen. And aside from the quiz, if anyone wanted to connect with you further and, of course, just share their results with you, what does that process look like? to connect with you
Yeah,
further?
so when you get your results, it will automatically say if you want to share them, they'll prompt you to put in an email. And my email is jen at iriseforme.com. And if you want to get curious and learn a little bit more about the mental fitness program, it's on my website. Very excited. First recording since my new website launched, and that is jenuschold.com.
Oh my gosh, so exciting. Well, this is incredible. Thank you so much. We'll make sure that we tune in, and I cannot wait to take that quiz. And
Awesome.
anyone else who's taking it too, we'll put it in the description notes, and then we'll also put it in the comment section for those of you all who are inside of the Facebook group.
Excellent.
Amazing. Well, Jen, thank you so much for your time. This has been incredible.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's been fun.